You're listening to The Bon Marie Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Marie Show on Irish News Radio or itv.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net.
The Bon Marie Show on itv.ie and Irish News Radio. Today we're talking about the financial mess. Now the financial mess, because we're tied in with the EU, is not just about Ireland. It's how and why we are in such a bad situation and how it's going to increasingly get worse. So we were in basically a debt trap. We were offered money by Germany and different banks, which they were lured in by cheaper loans, but we couldn't pay them back, and that's where and how we got into the problem. Then our government signed a 43% debt on the EU banks, which had nothing actually to do with Ireland. It was tied into the EU banks, but our government signed them, and a 0.1 point population of Europe signed 43%. So not just us, our grandchildren will be in debt, and there's no way we can pay them back. And then Nama came and they closed and took a lot of our properties. Things are getting a lot worse as the government isn't really a government, and they're not working for the people. They are working for the EU to take away everything break down our constitution, so we are no longer an independent or a sovereign country, and we're in a very dangerous situation. The government has signed us into PESCO, which is the European Army. So things aren't looking good in any way. The Labour in the UK have turned cities and counties into non-British cities, and like that the Irish government have done that. The latest one is Wicklow, a hotel in Wicklow. They took in Pakistan and Nigerians. And you've got to ask yourself how many gang rapes and how murders will be brought in because of this from the Irish government through the EU. For the Irish way of life, women will not be able to go out and drink. Children will be in danger. Old people. This is what our government is doing. And it's not like they don't care. They know we're going to go, see, so we told you so. That's not what they want. They want it so it's so destructive that we will be too scared to say, see, we told you. They know exactly what's happening. They're not stupid. They have planned and organised this. The EU, the Irish government has been paid, and Leo's well prepared and planned and pimped from a young age to bring this in. They will have to shut down. So this is to do with the finances. So they brought it in this, and it was quite a well-known hotel, quite a well-liked hotel. There was a nightclub downstairs and there was a bar. All that will have to be closed down, because obviously you can't have local people going in there and local women and putting them in danger, unless that's what they plan to do. But that, and absolutely let women get murdered, then maybe that's what their plan is. And also you had a teen disco across the road. You can't keep that open, because they have particularly the Pakistanis don't see young teenagers because they're Muslim. And a lot of the North Africans that they're taking in are Muslims. And again, it's to do with Islam. You can't have female young children going in, because from 9 years of age in the Islamic faith, you're seen as a woman, not a child. Not that they see they can rape boy children in particular before 14, because they're not seen to be an adult, so that's okay to rape boy children at that age. But for female young teens are very much in danger. So that will have to be shut down. But the Irish government would probably leave it open. Now, if the Irish people in Wicklow Town, it must be so, so frightening because they're not that stupid. They're not as stupid as the Irish government. They must know what's coming their way. And it's going to be their children. You know, this is coming closer and closer to everybody. This is danger. And it's not the only county. They have obviously read, and our media is complicit into lying to us. And the main media hasn't told what is really going on. But there's been many other counties in Ireland with gang rapes. And there's been nothing done. They don't even, when they went to court, a known Pakistani and his gang were going into nightclubs targeting women, drunk women. And a bouncer copped onto it and kind of, luckily enough in that county, they were protected. We don't know how many have been raped already. I mean, we know about the ones that were saved and caught, but we don't know how many were actually raped and gang raped at this stage. And we are in a very, very bad situation. We're flying towards the UK, which they say there's 1 million. Some people even say there's over 1 million to 2 million children gang raped in the United Kingdom. This is where we're heading, and we are there already. It's very frightening. And I really feel sorry for the people, Wicklow people. Like, this is their home, this is their ancestry home, this is everything. But they can't live in it. They have to sell up and get out. There is no other choice. And that is quite scary. And I'm sure their houses will be devalued. Because everyone's going to have to get out. Anybody with any conscience of their children or their old people or anybody they wanted, they're going to have to leave the town. Even the most naive person will know that if you have a teen girl in particular, you're irresponsible. That is what's going to happen. If they come from the Islamic faith, this is what they feel, that they have every right to rape that child. No law can stop them because, as far as they're concerned, their God law is the most important law, not any man-made law. They see God's law as the only important, and they can't wait until they bring in their law. So this is why it is very, very dangerous. And if you have a female child, it is very, very sad, or a boy child below 14, you need to move out of that situation. Or if you've old people, you need, or females, you need to move. There is no other way. You can't live with Islam, and since the government is flooding you, you either decide to fight back as a group of people and insist that they all leave at gunpoint. They get out of the country. They're not refugees. They don't need to be here. And all they're doing is destroying the county of Wicklow and the people's homes and the lifestyle and people's lives, the culture of Ireland, to get them out. Or if you decide you're not going to stand up, then you have to move. If you have a child, you need to move. There is no way to live with these people. Like, it's very sad situations. It's really, if you need to get out. I mean, the areas that the gangs have gone after already in Ireland were from the so-called refugees, were places like Kilkenny, Dungarvan in County Wexford, and Waterford, Dungarvan in Waterford, and also Carlow. So these places have already happened. Muslim men go into clubs looking for drunk women to isolate them in a newspaper. Luckily, the bouncers on the floor were able to protect drunk women. I think this was in Carlow. Where is our army to remove these at gunpoint? Our army should actually be moving the government at gunpoint. This is completely in breach of our constitution. We need them removed, and we need the refugees out, all of them, by gunpoint. This is plantation without approval or consent of the Irish people. The rest of Europe are working this out, and beginning, look at Eastern European, they're beginning to put their own people first and their own sovereignty first and the safety of their own people. Ireland is destroying. We're heading down the UK. And another 10 years, 5 years, we'll have so many children who are gang raped, lives destroyed, many murders of particularly women and children are very vulnerable at this situation. And there will be lots of them dead in ditches, weekends, work for them, mainly gang raped. And this is horrific. This is no way. So Irish people need to move out of these areas like Wicklow. You can't live in it. You can't bring up your children and hope that the teenage disco will go okay, because it's far from it. In Islam, they see nothing wrong with going over there and gang raping your child. They will drug her, as they've done it in Germany, leave her in a ditch, call their friends to gang rape her. And that is the reality, because women have no value in Islam. And the highest selling porn is to Muslim males in Islamic countries. So not only does their religion tell them women are worth nothing or have no value, then they also watch extreme amount of porn. And the most highest selling porn is violent porn. So not only that, then porn backs up the ideology that women have no value from a young age. They're also making Irish history an optional subject. Well, that's no shock. Because these new so-called Irish would have no interest in the Irish history. And then also the EU could push their own bullshit on history on the Irish people, claiming that they were so luckily saved by the EU. Other than that, they were sinking ship. And the scary thing is that a lot of the people believe that already. And that's what's wrong. The best time was the only time that we had in between when we left completely the British pound and before we joined the EU. That's when we were doing well. But none of it's worth any money without a sovereignty, without a safety of your children, and to bring up your children in safety. None of all the money in the world matters. Bringing in ideologies that will kill and rape your children and murder you is not worth any money in the world. It's scary, sad, sad times. John O'Donoghue, an ex-justice minister, cashes in on asylum applications. So these people are making money. The corrupt government is lining their pockets. Panelists paid €615 for interviews and an extra $350 to carry out an interview, and a further $95 for each dependent child. Like, it's a whole money-making business, and they don't care about the Irish lives. 6, 7, 8, 9. There's over 1,000 for each applicant that goes through. Like, that is pretty scary, and that is why they keep doing it. And you'd wonder why they're not actually taking in Christians out from these countries, or even the white South Africans. They're taking in the killers. They're taking in the black Africans who are killing the white Africans. They're taking in the Muslims who are killing the Christians. Why are they bringing them in and flooding areas like towns like Wicklow, Carlow, Waterford, Kilkenny? Why are they destroying these towns? They're the first to go. They're little populations that will be destroyed. They will be overpopulated, and they will become an Islamic town within a few years, less than a few years. And Irish people, or Irish Christian ways, will not be allowed. They will not be tolerated, because once they become the majority, if you're not gang raped and murdered and made to submit beforehand, you certainly will not be able to work, because all the companies will become sheer complacent. So that means your food, everything. Already we have halal factories in Ireland that have to cut open the neck of the animal and let it bleed to death slowly and painfully. Now it's against all all against animal rights, but because it's Islam, nothing is done. Again, same as female mutilation, the same as anything to do with Islam. They're all against human rights or animal rights or different rights, but it doesn't matter. Nobody will argue when it comes to Islam. So what this starts off is, you have a halal and you go, oh, we must have halal food because we can't eat your dirty food because it's not cut. It has to be prayed. They don't tell you the real truth. It has to be die in pain, the animal, not just prayed on. So, but not only that, only a Muslim can kill these animals. So they only employ Muslims. So you start off with a factory. This food has to go to Muslim children. So Muslim people buy it. So you have to have Muslim shops, Shia complacent shops, where Muslims go in and buy their food. So suddenly you've taken all this business away from the Irish. So you have a factory that sells to Islamic shops that Muslims buy. Then you have a mosque which brings more of them in, and then you only hire Muslims, because to kill the animal has to be Muslims, to sell to Muslims have to be Muslims. The Muslims are buying it. Then you ask for not only that, the schools have to become, they don't have to become even Islamic. What they do is they have to become Shia complacent. So you have to first of all start allowing Muslim meat in. So they have Muslim meats in schools, you have Muslim meats in workplace, you have Muslim meats. And then you bring in prayer time. They need prayer times. And then you have to have Muslim prayer time in work. You have to have Muslim prayer time in schools. Then you start banning Christian things, like things that will be offensive to Muslims. Things like pig, pork. Don't have pork because it's very offensive in work or in school towards Muslims. You see where this is going, people? So not only are you taking away their businesses and their financial, you're pushing Shia. So the Christians can't live in a way. They can't eat meat, or they can't eat pork. Then suddenly crosses, things that represent Irish culture and Irish identity, is now offensive to Muslims. So you have to take that down. But oh no, things to do with Saudi Arabia. And because the Irish government is getting money backhanded by Saudi, we're allowed anything to do with Islamic. So suddenly everything becomes Shia complacent. And then you'll have things what they've started to look at in the UK, which is ridiculous, police uniform that will be Shia complacent, in an idea of getting more minorities to join the police force. Hello? Seriously. I could be a minority and want to wear a mini skirt. I don't see anybody bending off backwards to jump and go, oh, that's okay. I find their uniform offensive. This is ridiculous. And that will come as well, that the Irish Gardaí will have to be Shia complacent. This is how they do it, by your stupidity and they use your own ways against you. And this is costing us money. So this, not only do you bring them in, the Irish government brings them into places like Carlow, Kilkenny, Wicklow, destroys the town, right? Becomes unsafe for women and children. Then the next thing is they bring in their food. Then the food has to go into their schools. And then the only ones that Muslims hire are Muslims. The Irish are pushed out of their homeland and work, because if they can't work in that town, and they are pushed out. But they should probably be going anyway, because if they have children or females, unless they're willing to take up fighting every day. But you won't be able to push this any further, because your children will have to go to school with Muslims. Your workplace will have to be, and eventually there will have to be a certain amount of Muslims in schools. There will have to be a certain amount of Muslims in workplace. So you won't be able to get out of it, and it will be pushed further until you have no choice. You become a minority. in a very short time in this country. So then you make a decision. You will either have to leave to another county until that one gets taken over. There is very little, unless you people start waking up and get this government. It's against our constitution. We have a constitution to protect us from all this fucking work he is doing. But because none of you are standing up and looking at the law, the constitution was written to protect us. He needs to be taken out by gunpoint. The whole Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin needs to be taken out by gunpoint, along with their fake refugees, and put Ireland safe for the Irish, the indigenous population, as in the constitution was written, and to give back money and workplace to the Irish. Stop taking away from the Irish. Thank you for listening on the Bonry Show. Today is Monday on ITV.ie. We're talking about the financial mess and why we're in the financial mess. Thank you. Anything you want to talk about on ITV.ie and Irish News? We will be talking about things that other stations don't talk about. We will be waking you up to it. And you need to share this. You need to share this for your own safety and for other people that you love. Share this station. Share this news. If you've got anything, even if you don't always believe in what I say, share it. Help people understand what's going on. Because if you don't, and then their children gets gang raped or murdered, you will know that you heard this and you didn't share it. So share and share. Thank you very much for listening. Anything you want to know or you want to talk about anything, write into itv.ie on the Bonry Show. Thank you very much again.
You are listening to Irish News Radio and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.